They thought he was just another quiet guy, a man minding his own business in a roadside diner. But when the bikers crossed the line, they learned the hard way that some fights are lost before they even begin out the wind that afternoon carried. A sharp chill as Darius pulled his truck into the gravel lot of Earl's Diner, a small, forgotten spot off Old Route 66. It looked tired, like time itself had slowed down there, the kind of place where the coffee was always bitter, and strangers were noticed right away. The open sign buzzed faintly in the dusty window, barely holding on to life. A rusted gas station stood nearby, its pumps long out of order. Darius shut off the engine, grabbed his cap, and stepped out. He took one quiet look at the diner before walking in. Inside, it was exactly what he expected. Checkered floors cracked with age, booths torn at the seams, and a jukebox in the corner that hadn't played a note since the 80s. The air smelled like burnt coffee and old grease, a scent that never left. The waitress behind the counter wiped a spotless table, her tired eyes showing she'd done this too long. When Darius opened the door, the bell chimed, and every head turned. No smiles, no nods, just cold, lingering stares. At a corner table, a group of bikers sat draped in leather vests, dark sunglasses hiding their eyes. Their laughter faded the second Darius stepped in. He didn't react, didn't flinch. He simply found a booth near the window facing the exit. Old habits die hard. The waitress came over, pen tapping nervously against her pad. "What'll it be?" she asked flatly. "Cheeseburger, fries," Darius said quietly, "and coffee, black." She scribbled it down, her eyes flicking toward the bikers who were now watching Darius like wolves eyeing their next meal. Darius stayed calm, hands relaxed, eyes steady. He traced the rim of his coffee cup when it arrived, ignoring the weight of the room. Then came the voice, deep, mocking, meant to draw blood. "Well, would you look at that?" a bearded biker said loudly. "Got ourselves a tourist." His buddies snickered, low and memed. Darius didn't bite, didn't even glance over. That silence, it got to them. "Hey," the biker barked, "you deaf or just rude?" The waitress placed Darius's coffee down, her hand trembling. He gave her a soft, polite smile. "Thank you," he said quietly. She left fast. She knew what was coming. The diner went quiet again, that kind of stillness before thunder. The air was heavy, and every pair of eyes waited for someone to make the first move. The biker leaned back in his chair, voice dripping with arrogance. Maybe he's shy, or maybe he's lost. Ain't many of his kind out here. That laughter, cruel, ugly, rattled the walls. Darius just took another sip of coffee. Still calm, still steady. That calmness made them furious. The chair scraped loud against the floor as the bearded man Travis stood up, big, loud, and full of false confidence. He walked over, boots thudding with every step, stopping right beside Darius's booth. "Hey, I'm talking to you, boy," he sneered. The word boy cut the air sharp, but Darius didn't even blink. He just set his cup down and said, "Something I can help you with?" Polite, even, measured, but the tone froze Travis for a heartbeat. "You're sitting where you don't belong," Travis growled. "Don't you know how things work around here?" His buddies laughed behind him, egging him on. "Show him, Travis. Teach him some manners," Darius sighed quietly. "I'm just here for lunch," he said. That line so calm pushed Travis over the edge. He slammed his fist on the table, rattling the plates. "I don't think you heard me, friend." Then Darius looked up, just for a second, and everything changed. His eyes were calm, still, unbreakable. And for the first time, Travis hesitated. "Back off," Darius said softly. Not a threat, not a plea. Just a fact. Travis grinned to hide the crack in his confidence. Or what? The diner went silent again. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Then Travis snapped, "You're gonna learn some respect." He reached for Darius's collar, but Darius's hand shot up, grabbing his wrist midair, the grip iron tight. "Don't," Darius said, calm, cold. Final doubt Travis froze, caught off guard by the speed. Then yanked his arm free, trying to save face. "Think you're tough, huh?" He turned to his crew. "Get up, boys." Chairs scraped. 5 men stood. The room thickened with tension. Darius didn't move. Didn't even blink. Travis smirked. "You've got 2 choices. Walk out that door, or we take this outside." Darius took one slow sip of his coffee, then set it down gently. "I'd rather finish my lunch." That did it. "Fine," Travis hissed. "We'll do it here." The bikers surrounded him, closing in like a pack. 5 against 1. They thought they had him trapped. They didn't realize they were already beaten. The diner went silent. Even the cook froze behind the grill. Then Travis lunged, but Darius moved like lightning, calm, precise, fluid. He sidestepped, grabbed Travis's wrist, and twisted, using the man's own momentum. Travis slammed chest first into the table, 1 down. The next came swinging wild. Darius slipped aside, drove an elbow into his ribs, and sent him crashing into a booth. 2 down. The biggest one charged next, but Darius spun, trapped his arm, and swept his legs clean. The man hit the floor hard. "Stay down." Darius murmured. 3 down. Another grabbed a chair, desperate move. Darius ducked, yanked it free, and shoved the biker back into a booth. 4 down. The last one hesitated, eyes wide, heart pounding. He looked at Darius, calm still, not even breathing hard. Then he turned and ran. The bell above the door jingled wildly as he fled. 5 down. The diner stood frozen. Darius exhaled, slowly adjusted his cap, and glanced at the chaos around him. Travis groaned, half on the floor, half on the table. His pride hurt more than his ribs. Darius looked down at him and said quietly, "I told you to back off." The words hit harder than any punch. The room was silent again, not from fear, but awe. Darius turned back to his booth, sat down, and took a fry. Calm as ever, the waitress finally spoke, her voice trembling. "Sir, are you okay?" He smiled softly. "I'm fine, ma'am." She blinked, stunned. After all that, he was still polite. "I'll get you a fresh burger," she said. "No need," Darius replied. "This one's fine." In the corner, an old man whispered, "I ain't never seen anything like that." Darius finished his meal, left a few bills under the plate, and stood up. As he walked toward the door, the waitress called out, "Who are you, really?" He paused, hand on the door, looked back with a faint smile. "Just a guy who knows how to finish his lunch." Then he was gone, outside. The gravel crunched beneath his boots. The biker who'd run earlier stood frozen, too scared to speak. Darius climbed into his truck, started the engine, and drove away down that empty stretch of Route 66. The bikers would heal, the bruises would fade, but the memory, that would stay. They learned something that day. You don't judge a man by how he looks, how he talks, or where he's from. Because sometimes the quiet ones are the ones you should never test. Word spread fast. Everyone who was there told the story their own way. "The guy barely moved," one said. "He took them down like it was nothing." Another added, "He didn't even get angry." The waitress had her version too. "I asked him who he was," she'd say, "and he told me just a guy getting lunch." For Travis and his crew, the humiliation stuck. The bruises healed, but the lesson stayed. Strength isn't about noise or numbers. It's about control, discipline, knowing you can, but choosing not to dot as Darius drove down that long road. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in gold. He wasn't thinking about the diner anymore, or the men he'd left behind. He thought about his past, the years as a Navy SEAL, the missions no one would ever know about. He didn't fight for glory. He fought to protect Dot at a small gas station miles later. He stopped for water. The cashier, a teenage kid, looked up and asked, "You headed somewhere important?" Darius smiled faintly. "Nope, just passing through." The kid noticed his posture, his stillness. "You military or something?" Darius paused, then shrugged. "Just a guy getting water." And with that, he stepped back into his truck and drove off into the fading light. For everyone he left behind, his calm strength stayed burned in memory, a reminder that power doesn't need to shout. Respect isn't taken by force. It's earned through composure. And the quietest people are often the strongest ones of all.